All right, everyone. Welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. After another win, we've played quite well recently. It was a very satisfying one to get the win over Sheffield United for me anyway, after the disappointing result in the reverse fixture. I'm joined by Sam and Liam today, lads. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing you today. We were on the watch long earlier with Carl and Brandon, but I've not seen you two. How did you enjoy the match?
Good. I thought it was a bit of a game of like ifs. If this had happened, if Callum Wilson was fit, we would have won 4 or 5-0. If McGoldrick could finish, they could have won 2 or 3-1. Yeah, it was a game of ifs, I thought.
Liam?
I wasn't bored out my brain, so it's a start. You know what I mean?
But what I will say is though, what a noise! What a noise in that ground!
Incredible. So nice to see everyone back. Of course, Adam, Lee and Johnny there enjoying the game. Very jealous of those three enjoying the game in the sun and getting a positive result as well. And a fairly attacking game. Some nice attacking football there, especially from our Saint-Maximin, but we'll touch on all that. Like I said, this is Scoring the Players, so we will be giving everyone a match rating. Don't forget, you can get involved in the comments down below. Let us know what your match ratings are for each player. If you agree, disagree with us, tell us why we're thick or why we're spot on. What everyone's played. Remember, this is just on today's game, of course, not over the course of the season. We've got this, and then we've got the live fan reaction up at around 8:45. If you want to get on and say your piece, so you can come on and join. I believe it's Carl and Brandon on that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sam.
Yeah, no, it is. And then, of course, we've got reaction videos from the ground.
Yeah,
Johnny with the instant reaction from St James's Park, and then a match vlog with Lee, and then Johnny, Lee, and Adam with the last word at St James's Park. Who'd have thought it?
It's so nice hearing that. Honestly, I'm so excited to see that. But yeah, stay tuned for all that tonight, guys. And don't forget, if you enjoy the videos, to drop a like on them. It helps us out a loads and doesn't cost a penny. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that notifications bell to get instant updates when we upload our videos and go live. Right. We're here to score the players, so let's score the players. So we start in goal with Martin Dubravka, who finished the game, unfortunately, with a slight injury. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts the next game, if he'll miss the Euros, depending on how serious it is. Sam, we'll start with you because you're the furthest left on my screen. So you've got the pleasure of rating his performance in goal today.
I thought overall really solid. There was a couple of moments in the first half where he was that nice calming influence, because there was a couple of times where, credit where credit's due, Sheffield United played some decent stuff and McGoldrick couldn't finish to save his life. But he was beaten on a couple of occasions, but the crossbar saved us on one occasion, and McGoldrick fired wide early on, which he should have been burying, let's face it. We were walking wounded out there, weren't we, towards the end of the game, including Dubravka. So I think he didn't have any real spectacular saves to make, so that's why I'm giving him a 7, because he was just nice and calm, collected, and fine. Otherwise, he didn't have a great deal to do, did he?
No, it wasn't particularly tested. Like you say, McGoldrick had a couple chances, which probably he should have done better with, rather than Dubravka could have done worse with. So, that's down to his poor finishing rather than Dubravka's outstanding performance today. I think 7's probably fair. Do you agree with that rating, Liam?
Yeah, he didn't really do much, so you can't really put him higher at all than a 7.
I'm pretty cut and dry with that one. Don't forget in the comments to get involved if you think he did any better or worse, of course. We'll move on to the right back, or the right wing back position, I should say. Jacob Murphy, we talked in the watch along, said he's been a bit of a revelation this season. Someone asked who our breakout player of the season was. His name was tossed in that ring. What did you make of his performance today? Obviously, Sheffield United set up with wing backs as well. Liam, his matchup against Ender Stevens on that side.
I thought he done well. I think it would have been a different performance if Callum Wilson was there. But I thought he done well with what he had. So defensively, he was good. Going forward, he was good. So I'd probably give him a 7 as well, like Dubravka. I think he had more of an impact than what Dubravka did on the game.
Yeah,
across the goal.
Yeah, brilliant cross for the goal. Put it on a plate and constantly getting forward. We know that his attacking side's better than his defensive side. He's not the strongest defender in the world.
What are his numbers? What does anyone know how many goals and assists he's got?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure we can find that out.
Yeah, not 5 minutes straight after the final whistle. That's way too soon for stats and figures.
But yeah, no, he's really attacking today. I think we set out to attack the game, which is nice to see, especially in front of the fans, put on a show for them. And he was kind of epitomised that attacking mentality today for us. So I think 7's probably fair, especially with that delivery for the goal on a plate for Joe Willock. I'll take the next in line, the pleasure of marking Emil Kraft's footballing experience. I'll not say his performance. I don't know. He didn't have too much to do. He was caught out of position in the first half for that chance you mentioned for David McGoldrick, which he should have tucked away. Ender Stevens broke away. Kraft lost his man. Should have tracked Stevens across the pitch when he dropped into that number 10 role. So he's at fault for that. Still don't think he's good in a centre back role. Don't think he's good in a right back role either. But not his finest performance, but certainly not his worst. I give him a 6 because he was pretty middle of the road. Didn't make too many mistakes. Didn't do anything outstanding, but
clean
definitely,
sheet. Clean sheet.
Clean sheet. But
that goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Emil Kraft, clean sheet.
2 words, two phrases that we always say in the same sentence without hesitation. Yeah, but yeah, bang average.
Just been beat 2-0 as well.
Yes, yeah. We mentioned that on the live stream. They're 2-0 down against Lincoln in their playoff contention. So they'll come up. I think they were away in that game, so they'll come up and play the home game with a 2-goal deficit to make up, and no chance of getting any away goals as well. So if Lincoln nick 1, I think the away goals still count in that fixture. So
back Lincoln to win the League One playoffs in a what is now looking quite a tasty Trixie, a doubles and treble. Lincoln, Newport, and Swansea are back to win their respective playoffs. Sorry, continue.
You'll have to share.
You want to hear about my betting history?
Yeah, let Sam know if you want any betting tips. He's your man. No. So yeah, lovely stuff. We've had Dubravka, we've had Murphy, and we've had Kraft. So we'll move across the back line. The central of the 3 centre backs, Sam, Federico Fernández, arguably the linchpin in that back line. What was his performance like today?
Pick of the 3 for me. I thought he was absolutely superb. 2 players stood out for me defensively today. Fernandez was one of them, and the other one was a midfielder, which we'll come on to. I thought Fernandez was really, really solid. All right, he wasn't against the greatest of opposition in the world, which is why he's getting a 7. But I think it was a really solid, run-of-the-mill, nice, consistent central defender performance. I thought it was very good, and the pick of the 3. Whilst the other 2 beside him made kind of silly little errors here and there, not massively, but there was a couple. Fernandez didn't have any of that. It was just nice and solid.
Do you think that he's in contention for a starting place in the starting 11? Obviously, we've got Lascelles to come back from injury, Fabian Schär potentially here next season. If Fernandez is here next season, is he out of contract at the end of the year? I believe. Yeah. If he's still here, do you expect him to be in that starting 11, especially Lejeune coming back off loan potentially as well? Maybe some new signings coming in. Is he putting himself in good stead to start in that starting 11, or do you think he's kind of putting himself in the shop window at the moment?
6 and 2 threes, I think. I mean, if Lejeune, I don't think Lejeune is particularly fancied by Bruce, but if we are playing with 3 centre backs next season, then our best 3 centre backs are Lejeune, Lascelles, and Schär. That worked fantastically well under Rafa, and if we're playing 3 at the back, then that would be the way to go, in my opinion. But Fernandez is a great player to have around, tons of experience. Age isn't on his side, I suppose, but not that he's absolutely ancient, but I don't know. The club seem, from all the players that have been linked to us, they seem desperate to bring in another centre-half this summer, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a strange one, given that we've got so many capable centre-halves, either on loan or already at the club. So it'll be a strange one, but we'll see what the summer brings. We'll move on then to Paul Dummett, one of said centre-halves, or at least converted centre-halves. Not being himself since he's come back from injury, but a decent performance today, Liam.
Yeah, I think Sam pretty much said it all. Obviously, they did have he did have an odd little mistake in him, but I think overall we weren't really massively tested, were we? So I think I'm probably going to give him a 6. I don't think he was at the standard of Fernandez, but 6. Or it's a sort of score you get from Dummett every week. It's a 6.
He's, I believe the club's triggered, or there's rumours that they've triggered a 12-month contract extension with Paul Dummett, with a view to extending that further. Liam, do you see him as a starter now, or do you see him as a rotation player? Because he's been at the club for so long now. You know, he's a household name almost up in Newcastle. Do you think that he is good enough to start in this team, or do you think we should be looking past him to bring someone else in?
I think there's a lot of players we need to move on, if I'm being honest. I think Dummett's a good player because he's from the north. He's from Newcastle, do you know what I mean? But I think if he wasn't from Newcastle, he probably would have been moved on. But I think you do need people from the area that understands what it means playing for the club. So I would keep him at the club, but I don't think he's going to be a regular starter. But he is a very intelligent player. If he was just a bit quicker and could actually cross a ball, he would be probably there for the rest of his life. But.
Yeah, no, he is lacking in some areas, and I think he has taken a bit of a knock of confidence since he was out injured. He's come back and he's not really looked the same, in my opinion. He's a bit shaky. He's not as defensively solid. He's not throwing himself into tackles as like he used to, and his positioning is sometimes shocking. But I don't know if that's because he's being played out of position as a left-sided centre half in a back five or a back three. But we'll see what next season brings. Like we say, moving on to Matt Ritchie, who's been the talisman for us since he's come into the side, since he was brought in from the Cull by Steve Bruce. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I'm getting into the 0.5s because I don't think he deserves an 8 today. He was better than average. I think he was a lot of the outlet balls. We struggled today to connect our defence and attack. There was a lot of players getting forward, but the ball wasn't getting forward with them at times. It was predominantly going through Jonjo Shelvey and the wing backs, and I think Ritchie was, when he was on the ball, was, in my opinion, the better of the two in getting the ball to feet to other players. So feeding in Almirón on the left-hand side and Saint-Maximin getting the ball to feet and propelling us into attack. So that's why I'll give him a 7.5. We had this discussion on the watch along. We've been linked with Willems to bring in on a free transfer. We've got Jamal Lewis sitting on the subs bench. Ritchie's performances since he's come back in suggest that he's a nailed-on starter for us at the moment. Do you think? I'll put it to both of you. You can have a debate. Do you think? I know there's a lot. I'm talking a lot about next season, but do you think he deserves a place in the starting 11? And if he does, is it as a wing back, as a left wing back?
I mean, every transfer window, he's always linked with a move away. And we always come crawling back to him and we keep using him and look how instrumental he's been. It is a tricky one. I don't think anyone would argue about bringing Jetro Willems back in the fold. Then what do you do with Jamal Lewis? I think Ritchie will probably be moved on sooner rather than later. Love him to bits. Fantastic cross in the first half for Shelvey, forcing a fantastic save from Ramsdale. I don't know. It's tricky because he's been linked with a move away every transfer window since our return to the Premier League. And he'd said his January. He'd said his goodbyes. He was gone. He was gone back to Bournemouth. He still lives down south, so whether or not that plays any part, I'm not sure. But I wouldn't be adverse to keeping him in any way, shape, or form.
Liam?
I think, it just shows he's been vital to the team since he came back in. He's been that mouth that we've probably kept missing. And every time someone gets interviewed about him, all they say is he just shouts and he's just aggressive. And I think that's what we need in this team, because I think everyone's so blasé without that. Do you know what I mean? And I'd off this season, I kind of see Lewis getting anywhere close to the team next season. It sort of shows he hasn't been in the team for since January, February now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely more of a rotational player at the moment. Maybe there's a view to bring him in long term because he's still young, but it's not really worked out for him, that move, unfortunately. Strange
though, isn't it? Because this system will not suit him one bit because he is just an out and out left back. And then Lewis's period in the team was when things were going quite badly, and then he was just left to fend for himself by ASM. So it's an interesting one. There is a player in there. I'm absolutely 100% convinced of it, but I don't know. It's probably one that's been mismanaged this season.
I think it would be interesting to see what it'd be like in this current team we're playing now.
I don't know if you two follow the Championship at all, but I'd be interested to see who Norwich replaced him with and if they'd be open to taking him back, because they haven't changed the system that they play with. So it'd be interesting to see if he'd go back there, either maybe like on a loan deal, or what if you think that would be willing to loan it to a quote unquote relegation rival next season, will probably be lumped in with that lot. Or gone permanently. It'd be interesting to see where Jamal Lewis was, but he was on the bench today. He didn't get on, so we're not giving him a rating. Sam, we'll move on to the midfield. A man transformed in the last few games has been Jonjo Shelvey. Different role today again. What did you make of his performance?
I thought it was absolutely superb. I'm seeing in the comments 5s and 6s for Shelvey, and I haven't got a clue why. I thought he was brilliant. Defensively, he was absolutely fantastic. With having Willock and Almirón in that midfield, very attacking, very, very forward thinking, and Jonjo was kind of left to do the dirty work, which he did. And I haven't seen the stats about distance covered, but I'm willing to put a lot of money that Jonjo Shelvey was in our top 2 or 3 players for distance covered today. I'm giving him a 7. Do I go 0.5? No, because I think he was on a par with Jacob Murphy. But yeah, defensively, really, really good. I think him and Fernández ran the show solid as a rock when other players were more interested in getting further forward, which is absolutely fine by me. Jesus, after the season we've had, yes, please. But yeah, really pleased with Jonjo. I think playing in front of it should have scored. How the hell Ramsdale get that header out, I do not know.
Great save.
It was a great save. It looked like he popped his shoulder out saving that bugger. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. I think he benefited from the crowd being there as well. He seemed to raise his game with the crowd being in, as Declan Rice misses a penalty for West Ham. Banter. But yeah, really good, really good. Nice to see. The problem is, herein lies a dilemma. If, say, for instance, we do get Willock back next season, Steve Bruce actually has decisions to make.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Do you think Hayden holds her back?
Hayden?
Yeah. Because he is just solidly, that's all he is just defensive. Like, he cannot really... I know he scores the odd goal, but he's not the same presence as like a Joe Willock and Shelvey. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. It's difficult for me. I'd like to see a team with maybe not back 3 or 5, but I'd like to see a team with 2 holding midfielders in that can allow the front 4 to have complete creative freedom. So whether that's a Hayden and a Shelvey, or a Hayden and a player that we bring in, because I like to see Willock as an attacking midfielder. He's the link between the midfield and the attack for me. He shouldn't have to track back and defend as much as he has been. He's not a box-to-box midfielder, really. He's a creative and goal-scoring attacking midfielder. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if Hayden...
What you need, though, you need someone like that to sit in front of the back 4 like Shelvey did today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hayden gets across a bit more and puts the slide tackles in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether he holds us back. I don't know. That might be a little unfair.
The difference between Shelvey and Hayden is Shelvey can pass that ball that you're not expecting to pass, or Hayden just seems to pass it like 10 yards. I'm not saying Hayden's a terrible player, but I'm just asking questions. Do you know what I mean?
I know it's difficult, and it's difficult until you see it in practice. But Jonjo's got that Hollywood ball in him, but sometimes that's not what you need. Sometimes you just need the simple stuff doing right, as Sam has often said on the live stream.
Yeah, stop having to go at Hayden dressing gown guy.
What did you say last week? You get the basics right, and you can't go far wrong.
Just get the basics right.
Yeah, Jonjo playing with 1 less tooth today as well. He got his tooth knocked out in the first half.
Did he actually?
Yeah. I think it was a false one, mind. There was no blood, so
maybe that's why he ran a lot, because he was slightly less fat.
Dazed. Less weight on his head. Yeah. Solid performance. I'm surprised you didn't give him a higher rating there, Sam, given the praise that you gave him. But I think 7's fair.
Yeah, but I wanted to put it into context, because I would have put Murphy to 7.5 as well, and I think Ritchie's about right, or mind you, Jacob Murphy, or as the Sky commentator kept calling him, Joe Willock.
Joe Willock. Yeah, don't know how they keep getting them confused. They look literally nothing alike. But yeah, we'll move on to the other one in the midfielders, Liam. I'll let you take your pick. Do you want to take Almirón or do you want to take Willock?
Oh, God, Almirón.
Why not, lad? Get it. Go on then.
He seems to run into a lot of brick walls. And I think sometimes you can see players getting frustrated with him because he doesn't pass the ball quick enough or he's in the wrong position. And for an attacking player, he sort of like, it reminds us a lot of Theo Walcott in Theo Walcott's younger days, where he's got that speed, but then he hasn't got like the football and brain. I think that's what Almirón lacks some of the time. Has someone scored, I'm guessing, Sam?
No, they were about to, but it's fine. Sorry, continue.
But
you were saying what? Miggy ran a lot?
I haven't actually said that yet. I just said he runs into brick walls. But he runs a lot, but I'd rather him not run a lot and score or assist or do something. Do you know what I mean? But I'm probably gonna have to give him a 6. I don't think he actually done a lot today. If I'm being honest.
Completely anonymous first half.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I think to put it in perspective, Joelinton's got more Premier League goal contributions than Miggy's got. So if people are saying Joelinton's bad, then Miggy's got to be bad at the same level.
Yeah, a lot of the criticism that's been levelled at Miggy recently is, he's been played out of position. He can't get into those positions we're used to seeing him in, so hence he's not attacked and he's not got those goals and assists. But today, he really got forwards at times. He was just useless. His final ball is atrocious. I went off it on the live stream because he drove from about 20 yards outside the box. He carried the ball to about 8 yards outside a goal, and then he cut it across the box. If he laces that ball towards the goal, he either gets a goal or he gets a corner or he gets the rebound off the goal and a guaranteed goal. And it's like that. Those decision making, that's where he gets let down today. And that's a part of his game that he needs to change because he's not ruthless enough. And there was another moment where he could have whipped it into the back post, and I think Joelinton was unmarked. Instead, he takes a touch, fakes across, and then dives to try and win a free kick, and didn't get the free kick. He dived 3 or 4 times today. Really disappointing. I think 6 is generous, but I mean, I'll let you have it. But obviously, this is your. But I think it was. I think it was one of his worst performances for me today. I think it was a really poor performance from Almirón today.
He had at 90 minutes. He had a good 20 minutes. That was it, where he played some lovely interchange stuff with ASM, and that was that.
It was like that shot you were just going on about where he crossed it. It sort of reminded us when Joelinton came back and he had the chance to lace it and he passed it across the box. So clearly he's lost his confidence, but it's just do you move him on in the summer to try and get better players, or it's one of them things? Because if he's not going to be getting played in his right position, get a player that plays in that position. Do you know what I mean? If he's playing left wing and he's not naturally left winger, then you need to get a left winger, not a centre attacking midfielder.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens in summer with investment, who goes out and who comes in. I'm sure we'll be doing plenty of videos on those incomings and outgoings. But for now, we'll move along to Joe Willock, the goal scorer, the last man in that midfield. Fantastic performance again from him today. I think that's 6 in 6. I think I'm right in saying that's 6 in 6.
Polly with a cracking stat in the comments. Where was it? Come on.
He's yet again showing his value, joining on a loan. Youngest ever Premier League player to score 6 consecutive games. Yeah, perfect. I think the Sky commentary said that he's got the only person that's got a better minutes to goal ratio for a new Newcastle signing was Andy Cole or something like that. Something mad. I don't know how accurate that is.
This is second. He got the goal and assist today, so
yeah, it's impressive.
If he's in your fantasy team, you're buzzing. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, he's like we were saying earlier. He's the link between the midfield and the attack. He's perfect for this team. His chemistry with Saint-Maximin is electric. Watching those two play together is incredible. They just know where each other's going to be. They can lay it off, have a dribble. They can pass it without looking. Those two really, really feed off each other. And if they're both here next season, that's going to be the two to look out for, especially with Callum Wilson in that side as well. I think he's changed this side since he's been in. I'm going to give him an 8 today. Because I think he was one of the focal points for us going forwards and obviously got the winning goal in the end, the decider. I just love how much he gets into the box. Like for so long, we've had a team that can get down the wings and we'll cross a ball in and there's maybe one man to hit. And it's, Joelinton, who's got a 50 pence piece for a head. Like and that now you've got an extra target, an extra body to just call. Even if he's not getting on the end of the crosses, he's putting defenders under pressure. He's making them nervous, and his work off the ball is fantastic. And even when he was carrying an injury towards the end of the game, he was still grafting on defence. He threw himself into a slide tackle. I was dead impressed. He's really, really fantastic mentality from the young lad, and I'd be throwing 20-25 million at Arsenal to try and get him in on a permanent deal.
He's sort of put the Newcastle midfielders to shame, really.
Yes,
I think it's the first time we've had a goal threat from centre midfield in the Premier League since Gini Wijnaldum.
Yeah. Which, who was potentially off to Barcelona. So it shows what a player we had on our hands there. But yeah, it's like,
how old is he now? Like 33.
He's getting on a bit high. But if you think that Sean Longstaff is the alternative in attacking midfield, the gap from Willock to Longstaff is. Because we were saying on the live stream, if Willock is out injured, you'd love to see Elliot Anderson getting a chance there, but you know that it's going to be Sean Longstaff behind Dwight Gale if both Joelinton and Joe Willock are out injured. But 8 out of 10 from me. Let us know in the comments if you agree and disagree. And don't forget, if you are enjoying the video, drop a like. It helps us out massively, as always, and subscribe if you haven't already, but I'm sure most of you already have. Moving on to the front two then, Sam. Saint-Maximin, electric. Put on a show for the fans today.
That's exactly what he did. Put on a show, and he was an absolute joy to watch. He's getting an 8.5 from me because I thought he was the best player on the park. Again, worrying to see him go off injured, and hopefully it's not too serious. And all right, if he misses the last game of the season, he misses the last game of the season. But as long as he's back fit to have a proper full pre-season, ready for the start of next season, then fine, because he's so important. He was an absolute joy to watch. The way he can beat 2, 3, 4 players, no one else can do that. He kind of made the goal just when you think he does too much, which is why he's not getting higher, because there was a couple of occasions where you think, fucking pass it. But when you think the chance is gone, the intelligence of that ball to play it behind the left back for Murphy to run onto was just absolute filth. It was that pass was just absolute kinky, but it was absolutely brilliant. He would be that. Them 10,000 in that stadium tonight will all be talking about ASM.
Yeah,
because the second half was a bit flat as well, especially after he went off. But it just goes to show he's a bigger miss than what Callum Wilson is, arguably.
Yeah,
because you look at the games since them pair came back. Would we have still beaten Burnley if we didn't have Wilson? I would argue probably we would, because of ASM. Tonight we've done it without Wilson. Made a good account of ourselves against Man City. But he's just... I hope to God we can keep him.
I don't think we will.
No, I know. I get that. I get that completely. There's fantastic interviews with him today going around from Sky and Talk Shite. And look, the gauntlet's been thrown down. He doesn't want to be fighting relegation again, and nor should he. So fingers crossed.
I think he'll leave late in the summer, depending on who we bring in.
We'll see, but we need to keep him.
We did have this debate on the watch along when people getting involved in the comments as well. We're saying that we can see him giving it one more season. However, if that season is under Bruce and if that season ends in a bottom half finish, he'll be gone. No hesitation. We can see him grafting. We can see him fighting for the shirt next season, because we don't think he's the kind of bottler that's just going to spit his dummy out because he wants to move away. But at the end of the day, he's too good for this team as it is currently. The thing is that there is promise in this team. There's Callum Wilson, there's potentially Joe Willock, Saint-Maximin, even Almirón, still fairly, youthful.
Let's not forget Ryan Fraser as well, if we can ever get him fit.
So attacking wise, there's a lot of hot prospects there. It could be fine. We just need a manager that can get all those players motivated and firing to the best of their ability. And whether Steve Bruce can be that man has kind of proven this season that he can't be. Yes, we've been hit by injuries and we've been unlucky, but then so has every other team in the league. I mean, I know I bang on about them a fair bit, but Leeds United have finished, well, they're currently 8th in the league, and they have a squad that is 95% championship players. The players that they brought in have been either injured or unavailable for the most of the season. They've got the almost identical squad that they had in the championship. The difference is they've got a manager that will get every last drop out of his players, and we just don't have that at the moment. So you wouldn't blame Saint-Maximin for walking if he did walk under Steve Bruce, unfortunately. And that's the harsh reality of being a Newcastle fan at the moment. Anyway, enough about that. The last player in the starting 11, Liam, to rate was Joelinton. Went off injured, unfortunately, without making too much of an impact.
Yeah, he didn't do much, but he looks a lot better player when he's got Callum Wilson next to him, doesn't he? I think it's hard for him to be, because obviously he was probably the out-and-out striker today with him and ASM, so I think he finds that role difficult. And I don't know why we persist on playing him in that role, because he just gets so much negativity thrown at him. Because his form recently has been quite good. Because I think he's got 3 goals in 6 games or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I think I'm going to give him a 6. I would have liked to seen him, if we're going to play ASM and Joelinton, I probably would have liked to seen him probably not even start, because I think it just brings him down. So 6 today. It's a shame he went off injured.
Yeah. It's a shame for him, because today was a game where he could have potentially gotten the score sheet in, and next week it's obviously a relatively easier game than some. So it remains to be seen if he'll start.
He only had one sniff, didn't he? Which was that header, which he got the technique all wrong. I
genuinely don't know how he's done it. We watched it last week, and there was an attacking header that he ended up clearing out of the opposition's box because he came off the back of his head. For a big lad, he cannot attack the ball.
Yeah,
maybe he's
one where you just needed to dive and just guide it with your head. Look, I've shown you how to do it. but instead, he's got under it. It's just
he even had time to take it down. He had enough time to take a touch if he really wanted to. It would have to been a quick touch and a good touch, but he had time to do it. So yeah. Disappointing from him, disappointing that he's gone off injured and potentially missed the last game of the season. But nice that he got to play in front of the fans this season. I say nice for him. I don't know if he got booed off.
He shouldn't get booed off. Do you know what I mean?
No. Look, he's been a lot better lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, so. He's definitely improved, and hopefully next season he can kick on and chip in with a few more contributions in terms of goals and assists, alongside hopefully a dynamic attacking front line. And we'll move on to the subs before we come to the manager. Gale came on for Joelinton at half-time. Had 45 minutes to make an impact. Put himself about. Didn't do much. There was one chance where Saint-Maximin had the ball breaking on the left, and Gale was in about 10 yards of space in the box on the right, and Saint-Maximin just didn't see him or couldn't get the ball in quick enough, because if he had got it in, that's a guaranteed goal for Gale. Good positioning from him. I give him a 6 because he didn't do much wrong. Didn't inspire anything though, and surely to God he's got to be gone in the summer. No disrespect to him. He's been a good servant, fired us out of the Championship. He doesn't add anything to the side, even off the bench now.
New 3-year deal.
Says it all, doesn't it?
I think 6 is really generous. I thought he was really naff when he came on.
Yeah, he just doesn't look interested anymore. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to slate him, because I do like him as a player, and he is talented, and he can put the ball in the back of the net on his day. But it's not. Yeah, that's the end of it, really. You've got players that just aren't good enough. Ryan Brewster came off the bench for Sheffield United today. I don't think he scored all season. He can do it in the Championship though for Swansea, but kind of hack it in the Premier League.
Anderson's actually played less games. Allison's played less games than that Ryan Brewster got more goals.
Yeah. Correct English. Naughty boy. He said less games, when apparently the correct English is fewer games.
Not bad.
Classic. Bang average from Dwight Gale today. Perhaps 6 is a generous rating. Let us know in the comments down below what you give everyone, not just Dwight Gale, but everyone that played today, except for Andy Carroll, because he doesn't really get a rating because he didn't come on for long enough. Just got his customary touting in front of the home fans.
That's a shame.
Well, John, you'll be happy to know that there's a video coming potentially on NFTV Extra from myself that will be looking at all the relegated clubs and the players and talents that they have and which would be a good fit for Newcastle and how much they would be available for in the summer and if they would be a good investment. All the relegated clubs and potentially those clubs that miss out on the playoffs as well. Potentially Brentford, potentially Swansea and a couple of other clubs as well. So we'll be looking at all those. Yeah, but they could lose.
No, I backed them to win the playoffs. They won't lose.
That Freddie Woodman looks like a good player. I think we should sign him.
I think you should get him in. Yeah, he's young English talent though. Might be a bit pricey.
Send Joe Kinnear to go and scout him.
But yeah, I'll be bringing you that video as soon as the season ends, once everything's wrapped up. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. But yeah, we'll move on to the other substitute who came on midway through the second half. Would love luck, McGoldrick. That's annoying. McGoldrick, I slagged him off in the build up to the game. He added nothing to the attack, did he? For Sheffield United, he wasted the one chance that he did have in the first. If he was
capable, they would have won.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll move on to the second substitution. We'll get there eventually. Sam, Sean Longstaff came on off the bench.
Thought he was fine. Made a couple of nice forward runs. Probably too nice, that one where Miggy squared it and tried to put him on a play for it. The run was probably a bit too nice when Miggy should have just leathered it and put his foot through it. Like we said earlier, I thought he was fine, did nothing wrong. Nice and simple, 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Liam, you smiling? Are you agreeing? Are you disagreeing? Or are you just laughing at the comment there?
I was just laughing at the comment. But it's probably had to. Sean Longstaff's probably had to start making them runs because of Joe Willock. Obviously, he's probably learning that if I'm not going to make these runs, I'm not going to get in the team. So it goes back to that some lad that's been in the club 5 months is improving players. To probably how quality he is. It's the sort of player you need in your team. Do you know what I mean, Joe Willock? So he brings quality out of everybody.
Yeah, and then last but not least, Andy Carroll. It doesn't get a rating officially because he was only on the pitch for 6 minutes, but he threw himself about, got out potentially his last appearance in a Newcastle shirt in front of the home crowd. It was nice of Bruce to get him on the pitch for that. Got applauded off at the end. It was almost his last touch. We pointed this out in the live stream. Almost his last touch was falling over and handballing it to give away a free kick. And that summed up his Newcastle United career nicely. But yeah, so an NA for Andy Carroll today. But nice for him to get a run out in front of the home fans, and nice for the fans to send him off as well. Right, so we've had man of the match, Saint-Maximin, very clearly. Steve Bruce, this is always the fun part. We all give a rating for Steve Bruce, how he performed today, how he set up the team, how he adapted to the game tactically, what the result was. Was it a good performance? Liam, I think you didn't get to rate a player from the subs bench there, so we'll start with your rating of Bruce, please. What you give him?
7. He cannot really. He didn't really do much wrong in the day. He set up well. He set up the team that he's been playing well. We played all right football, but sometimes you've just got to grind the result out, haven't you? It's not all about playing the prettiest of football. The only criticism I have of Bruce is I want to see more youngsters in the team because we're now safe. Why not just play them? Why not start Matty Longstaff or bring him off the bench? Obviously, I know he had to take two subs off today because of injuries, but that bench hasn't really changed. I would have been packing it with youngsters just to give them that chance because we are safe and there's no real risk to anything really.
Yeah. Sam?
Look, he kept the same team, which was pretty much all he could do, and all of his substitutions were forced by injury. I was going to give him a 6, but to be honest, I'm not going to argue too hard. I'm comfortable with 7.
Yeah, I think 6, 7 around that kind of mark it was average from Bruce today. Like you say, everything was forced in terms of the game. I thought the substitution for Willock maybe could have come sooner because he did go down earlier with the injury, and you don't want to knacker the lad, regardless of whether he's going to be here next season. You don't want to give him a serious injury. Brandon was complaining actually on the watch along that he didn't take Dubravka off, and obviously they had the one when he did injure himself. There was only the one substitution left, so it was Sophie's choice. It was one or the other.
Yeah, no, I think he made the right call with that because I would have probably had someone in to take goal kicks instead of Dubravka to not kind of irritate the injury even more. But when it's your centre mid in the engine room or your goalkeeper that's struggling with what look like hamstrings, you take your off.
The only gripe that Brandon had with that decision was that Dubravka's #1 goalkeeper for the Euros for his country. So
it's not his country, is it? It's don't get me started.
Brandon,
not Brandon's
all
country.
of the European Union, man. He's got at least 74 passports.
No, like Dubravka's first choice for his country, not Brandon's country.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, but that's none of Steve Bruce's concern, is it?
No, but
international managers don't give a shit about when they're playing for the club. Look at Ryan Fraser making the Scotland squad today. So
that's very, very, very true.
Was it Sky won the day?
Was it what? Sorry, Sky.
Sky.
Yeah. We're on Sky Mix because we're not good enough for Sky Sports Premier League. But yeah, it was a 6.5 from Bruce today. Pretty average. Let us know in the comments if you agree. We're still Bruce out, by the way, as that banner says. Shouldn't be here next season, but he will be unless the ownership of the club drastically changes direction over the course of the summer, which does not look likely, unfortunately. Yeah, that's pretty much all we've got time for on Scoring the Players. Thank you, everyone, for joining in the comments. Thank you if you've liked the video. Thank you if you've subscribed. Thank you if you've stayed along from the watch along, because that is a massive graft. I've been here from the start as well. I'm off to have a very strong drink. We've got one game left in the season before we go, lads. Fulham away, score predictions.
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Newcastle.
Liam?
3-3.
3-3. All right then.
I want Bruce to play all the youngins in that game. I would rather not risk any players getting injured. Because if you look at that Isri for Crystal Palace, he's not playing for them now till 2022.
Yeah.
And they're safe. So
yeah. I'd go comfortable 2-0 win for us. They might bag one. I think Mitrovic might bag if he gets a game, but it should be another comfortable win depending on the personnel available for us. But yeah, that is the next game. That'll be on the final day of the season, and then it's the Euros and next season, which is all very optimistic, all very exciting. Thank you very much to Sam and Liam for joining me on Scoring the Players tonight. Stay tuned if you want to watch or join in on the live fan reaction. That'll be Carl and Brandon. Have your say, get involved, let us know your thoughts on today and the season as well as a whole. Are you still Bruce out, or are you now Bruce in after a good run of games? But like I said, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Thanks for subscribing and dropping a like on the video, and we'll catch you in the next video.
See you later.